Hey guys, it's garlic planting time. For me, and maybe for you. As long as your ground isn't frozen, you can still plant your garlic. I'm going to be planting garlic in a raised bed and in a container. There really isn't much difference whether you plant them in the ground, in a raised bed, or in a container. Before we get to the actual planting part, there are a couple of different types of garlic that you can plant, and you need to know which types those are so you know in your area what's best for you. So the two types of garlic are softneck and hardneck. Hardneck varieties are grown typically in northern climates, zone 5 or below, and they have a stem that goes all the way down to the root plate. So it goes right through the middle of all the cloves. The cloves kind of cluster around the stem. They also have pretty amazing scapes that look great in the garden, and they're also great to stir fry or to chop up to put in a salad or in any kind of cooking, and they'll give a little bit of a mild garlic flavor. And the softneck doesn't have a central stem that goes down through the bulb. It's all clove. Whether you grow hardneck or softneck, and whether you grow in the ground, a container, or a raised bed, you should expect by following a few simple rules, you can have a great harvest. A couple of years ago, I did an experiment because I had heard that much like when we grow tulips here in a warm winter climate, we have to kind of fake them out to think they've had a cold winter. So you put them in the refrigerator for like 6 weeks, and then you take them out and you plant them. The tulips think they've had a winter, so when the weather warms up a little bit, they start to come up. And so I heard that the way to make them clove better and to get larger bulbs in a mild winter climate, that you do the same thing. So I did that on half, and half I didn't refrigerate. And the results that I found were the refrigerated ones were much smaller. They both cloved, but they were much smaller and gave me much less garlic, less bang for my buck. And it's more trouble to refrigerate them. So the next year, I did not refrigerate any of them, and I had a great harvest yet again. Last year I didn't refrigerate them, but I didn't have a lot of space, and I only planted a few in a container, and they did fine. However, this year, they were put in the fridge accidentally. So we'll see how this turns out. Now, when you do this, and you can get your garlic from the grocery store, or you can buy them from seed companies, you want to get organic if possible. That is, in my experience, hard to find sometimes. And when you do buy your garlic, you want to buy more garlic bulbs than you're going to plant. Because each of the cloves will make a garlic plant. However, the bigger the clove is, the bigger the bulb is going to be when you harvest it. So if you cook with garlic, you know that around the outer rim, that's where the biggest cloves are, and then the smaller ones are toward the inside. So if you can, just use the outer ones for planting, take the inside ones inside for cooking. So the outer cloves are what we want to plant. So you want nice, big, meaty cloves to produce nice, big, meaty garlic bulbs the following year. Now I'm going to start in the raised bed, and then we'll do the container. So some of the requirements in terms of where you want to plant them are very similar to onions. They like full sun, they like loose, well-draining soil so they can really expand under the ground, and they don't want to be constricted with tough, tight, packed soil. And they want even moisture. And one more thing that garlic needs is some good organic fertilizer at planting time. And especially for bulb type crops, you want some phosphorus, which aids in root development. And that is the middle number on any container of fertilizer. And so the thing about phosphorus is a lot of soils, including ours here, some back east you don't have to worry so much about, but the phosphorus doesn't move through the soil very easily. So the best thing to do is to put it in below the roots at planting time. So I'm going to be using some Neptune's Harvest crab and lobster shell. And what I love about that is it's a nice form of organic phosphorus and calcium. I also like that it has different particles that it's made from. And so the larger pieces, where you actually see some of the crab shell, and there's like powder where it's really been ground down fine, those are going to break down at different speeds. The fine one is going to be kind of a quick release, and the larger pieces are going to be more of a slow release. I start by digging a small trench a couple of inches deep. I'm digging it right along the drip line so I know they will be watered well. And just for good measure, for some nitrogen and a lot of trace minerals, I'm going to sprinkle in some of the Neptune's Harvest kelp meal along with the crab and lobster. And then I'm just gonna mix that right in so it's down there where those roots can quickly take advantage of it without having to worry if you have the right type of soil for phosphorus to move easily through. All right, so planting depth and planting spacing. You're gonna wanna plant these about 2 inches deep and about 6 inches apart, 4 to 6 inches. These bulbs are on the smaller side, unfortunately, so I think 4 inches will be just about right, just about a hand's width apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant this bed full of garlic, except where we have some peppers and basil, which I'm trying to overwinter right here in this bed. I'll let you know how that goes in the spring. And another good thing to know, just in case you don't, is the flat part of the bulb points down and the pointy part points up. Now, garlic is a slow producer. These will not be filling up this bed anytime soon. So you can plant over the garlic, maybe some cut and come again lettuce or a quick herb like cilantro. Garlic takes 8 or 9 months to be ready to harvest. So probably around June in most places. It's a long time away, but you know, garlic stores for a long time. So it's kind of evening things out. So again, harvest in 8 to 9 months. You'll know it's time to harvest because the leaves are going to start turning brown. At that point, it's okay to satisfy your curiosity by just taking a couple fingers and just digging down next to one of the stalks until you hit the bulb. And you can feel how big the bulb is without digging the whole thing up. And you can even feel the ribs of each clove. So you can see if it's actually cloved for you as well. Now, for containers, it's almost the same. I'm using one of the fabric pots from Grassroots, and I'm glad you guys are loving those, and we still have the discount code. I'll put a link in the video description. I can't remember what I grew in this pot last summer, but I'm gonna refresh the soil. And you don't have to throw out all the soil in your containers each year. Just remove the top quarter or third and throw it in the compost or just throw it in the garden somewhere and add some new potting mix in to what's left. Mix it up a little bit. And then put in your fertilizer, mix that around, put your garlic cloves in, and then same spacing as in the ground. Then cover it all up with the new potting mix and water it well. And following all these directions, you should have no problem. I'll do a harvest video in June. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.